To my viewers, let me just say, as Pauline made this point, I mean, you've got to say this stuff slowly, and it's correct, that Australians receive the lowest share of benefits from their mineral and energy wealth of any country in the world. And yet, as you just heard her say, governments of both persuasions have allowed our resources, she made this point today, this morning, to be effectively plundered by mainly foreign-owned multinational companies for virtually no return to the Australian people. Now, this is where it gets frightening. Pauline, you made the point that natural gas from the Northwest Shelf, there are trillions of cubic feet, and they're really owned by the Australian people. But we're the largest exporter of liquid natural gas in the world. From the Northwest Shelf, exports of more than 80 billion. That's $80,000 million in value. And go on, what? We get 300 million back.
We get $200 to $300 million back in it. Qatar, who's the second largest exporter, they make over $26 billion income to their country. We set up Papua New Guinea with their gas and we structured their contracts there. They make over $1 billion a year. We structured it. We can't even structure in our own country a plan that will give us benefits to us, the Australian people, and revenue. And yet both of them. And I've got to say, I was disgusted. The Labor Party never spoke to my bill today. They never offered anything on the floor of Parliament. That's Labor.
You've asked the current Prime Minister and the opposition leader and senior members of the former coalition government if they understood what's going on with the riches in the Northwest Shelf. How do they respond?
They said, never heard about it. We had no idea. And I've spoken to both of them. And I spoke to, because I wanted to draw attention to the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, when I had a meeting with him. And I said to him, you want to target the multinationals pay their tax in Australia? And I said, good. I said, because I've been trying to do that for the past 5 years about the Northwest Shelf. He said, Pauline, I don't know anything about the Northwest Shelf. It's exactly the same. When I tried to draw attention to Peter Dutton about it, he said he doesn't know anything about it. I've spoken to other seniors in the Liberal Party. They don't know anything about it. No one seems to know anything about it. Who's running this country?
Absolutely.
The politicians or the bureaucrats?
Absolutely.
Who are feeding them a load of rubbish,
Well,
and we are not... We're not doing our jobs properly.
No, I mean, Pauline made the point today, and this is for the benefit of viewers, and you've got to say this slowly, our liquid natural gas exports are continuing to climb in volume. And of course, as she said, this makes foreign-owned multinationals rich. So much gas is being exported. Now, I've talked about this over and over again, that Australia has a shortfall of domestic supplies. And there is no pipeline, Pauline Hanson made this point today, delivering Northwest Shelf gas to Australia where it's needed. So, Pauline, you're saying we are the only large gas producer in the world where domestic prices are higher than international prices.
That's right. We are. And it's just continuing climbing all the time. And the governments are not doing anything about it. They're worried about the multinationals' foreign investment in Australia because they say, oh, they create jobs. What they've done, Alan, is they've put up, it's called a petroleum rent resource tax. Yeah. And if they invest $100 million, they get a 15% uplift factor. So when they put in their claims, it then comes $115 million that they can claim back through tax credits. So over the years, this has built up through their investments with the uplift factor the government gives them. They've built up nearly $400 billion in tax credits. So they'll take all our gas for years and years to come and never pay us for it. The governments have allowed it.
Yes.